just action. So we own it. Yeah. And you know,
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's program at on the Arouca Temple. A very special guest with us, His Holiness Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj. I'm sure like the reason why so many people are here is because they know who he is already. So my introduction will be short and sweet. One of the things that Maharaj has done over the years is he has this ability to make the Vedic teachings very accessible to a very broad range of audience. And that was demonstrated in one of the books that he wrote by the name of Gita Life, which is a summary of the Bhagavad Gita in acronyms. And in that book, he really brings it down to ground level that anybody, even if they don't have any idea what Bhagavad Gita is, Vedic philosophy is, it becomes very accessible. Subsequently, he would have written additional books on the Bhagavad Gita, but he also wrote a summary study on the Chaitanya Charitamrita called CC Compact, and a summary of the Srimad Bhagavatam called Book Bhagavata. So I think Maharaj today will share with us something from the Bhagavad Gita, of which he has vast experience as both a student and a teacher. So without further ado, we have Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. So thank you so much for coming. Very happy to be here with you. So yes, as Shanta mentioned, we will discuss something from the Bhagavad Gita. Also, if you have any questions on the Bhagavad Gita, we can also discuss. So we'll see where we go. We'll just begin with some kirtan. Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतां सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री प्रभुपाद की। So today we're discussing this beautiful book, Bhagavad Gita. If you look on the cover of the Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna is smiling a little bit. Arjuna is completely bewildered and Krishna is smiling. Sometimes if you become confused or bewildered, and then your friend is there and they are smiling, then it can make you even more bewildered. You think, I'm going through a difficult time here, and the person close to you is smiling. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he asked the question, why is Krishna smiling? Vishwanath says there are 3 reasons. He's saying because the most heroic, the most successful, Dhananjaya, the one who has won all the wealth, this powerful person has become like a mouse. And then he says, Vishwanath says, Krishna is smiling because he is just the chariot driver. He is just the menial servant. Now all of a sudden he has become the teacher. He has become the person on the high seat because Arjuna is asking him questions. And Vishwanath says Krishna is also now smiling because the battlefield where everyone is just meant to kill each other has become a classroom. So when the most powerful person becomes like a mouse, the most humble, menial person becomes like the guru, and the battlefield where there's supposed to be a war becomes a classroom, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Krishna can't help but smile because everything has turned upside down. So therefore, the battlefield becomes a classroom. A classroom is a place you learn lessons, isn't it? Put your hand up if you like going to school. No, bad question, huh? Only 2 people in the whole room. No, basically not many people like to go to school. If you thought school was bad 10, 20, 30 years ago, trust me, it's even worse now. I just give you a side fact. 50 years ago, you know what the 3 biggest problems in American schools? Number 1, talking in class. Number 2, cheating in exams. And number 3, chewing gum underneath the desk. These were the 3 biggest problems 50 years ago. You want to know the 3 biggest problems in American schools now? Number 1, gun crime. Number 2, teenage pregnancy. Number 3, physical assault of the teacher. So if you thought school was bad 50 years ago, it's even worse now. So generally people don't like to go to school, but it's necessary. You need to go to school to learn lessons. But the Bhagavad Gita is a different type of school, because what you learn in the Bhagavad Gita is everything you didn't learn at school. Everything you didn't learn at school, you learn in the Bhagavad Gita. In normal school, they teach you what to think, isn't it? When we were at school, all we did was memorize things. The only question in class we used to ask the teacher was, is this going to be in the exam? If it's not in the exam, I don't care, I'm not going to memorize it. So at school, all we did was memorize things. They taught you what to think. But in the classroom of the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches you how to think. Don't just memorize things. Learn to think for yourself. Learn to ask questions. Learn not to just go along with what everyone else is telling you to do, but learn to challenge how to think. So, normal school, what to think. Gita, how to think. Normal school teaches you academic knowledge, isn't it? Like maths, biology, chemistry, all of these. Academic knowledge. In the school of the Bhagavad Gita, you learn life knowledge. Was there any subject at school which taught you how to deal with a relationship breakup? No one taught you that knowledge. Was there any knowledge at school, any subject which taught you how to deal with it when someone in your family dies? No one taught you that knowledge at school. The Bhagavad Gita teaches you that knowledge. Right, so there's the normal school teaches you academic knowledge, Gita teaches you life knowledge. Normal school teaches you about the laws of the land, isn't it? What you can do, what you can't do, what you should be careful of. You must understand the laws, what you can do at 16, what you can do at 18. Bhagavad Gita teaches you about the laws of the universe. Don't just learn about the laws of Trinidad. Learn about the laws of the universe. What are the laws of the universe? The laws of karma, the laws of the 3 modes of nature. You need to learn these laws. Normal school taught you how to become successful. They're trying to teach you how to become very, very successful. But the Bhagavad Gita also teaches you how to deal with failure. Did they teach you in school how to deal with failure? Nobody told you that. In the world, they teach you how to earn money. In school, they're teaching you how to become very rich. But the Bhagavad Gita teaches you how to spend money. how to give money, how to offer charity. Because if you have all the money in the world, but you don't know how to spend it with generosity, all of that money will make you depressed. So can you see how the Bhagavad Gita is, the world teaches you, the material school will teach you skill set, isn't it? They teach you skills, how to do different things. Bhagavad Gita teaches you mindset, how to be humble, how to be tolerant, how to avoid greed, how to be truthful. Material education only teaches you competence, but Bhagavad Gita teaches you character. So like this, when you look closely, then you realize that everything you didn't learn in school, you can learn through the Bhagavad Gita. Because the battlefield of Kurukshetra has become a classroom. So therefore it's said that everyone should read the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Lord Shiva, Shankar, he says, Maline Moshanam Pumsham Jalashnanam Dine Dine Gita Shakrit Bhashishnanam Samsara Malanashanam. It's very simple, very easy to understand. Jala means water. Shnana means bath. Dine, dine, day after day. Every single day we take a bath with water to cleanse the body. So what Shiva says is that similarly every single day, Gita Shakrit Bhashi Shnanam. Bhasha means a language. Gita Bhasha means Krishna's words or Krishna's language. Every day you should bathe in Gita Bhasha, Krishna's words. Why? Because that will cleanse the mind, that will cleanse the consciousness, that will cleanse the heart. It doesn't matter how many showers you take with water, you can't clean your heart. You can't clean your mind. But when you bathe in the words of the Bhagavad Gita, then you bathe your mind. See? The problems are not out there, the problems are in the mind. One lady, she came to the doctor and she said, I'm about to die. So the doctor said, why? She said, I went swimming, and while I was swimming in the pond, I accidentally swallowed a frog. So there's a frog in my stomach and it's alive. The doctor said, I studied medicine for 7 years, I never heard of this, it's not possible. There's no way you can have a living frog in your stomach. She said, no, I'm convinced there's a frog in my stomach, you have to operate on me, you have to take it out, otherwise I'm going to die. So the doctor couldn't convince her, so finally he said to her, okay, let me try. So he gave her some pills, she went to sleep. The doctor came out of the surgery, he drove down to the pond, he picked up a frog. He came back to the surgery, she woke up. He said, you were right. I opened you up and I found there was a frog. Here's the frog. She said, I told you there was a frog. I was feeling so sick. Now I feel so much better. I feel so much better. So then the doctor thought, my God, my medical degree came in useful. But then what happened is 1 week later she came back knocking on the surgery. He said, what's the problem? He said, what's the problem? I took the frog out, there's no problem. She said, yeah, you took the frog out, you did a great job. But I got another problem now. The frog that was in there laid some eggs, there's another 3 frogs. Can you deal with it again? See, if you try to solve the problem superficially, the problem keeps coming back. The Gita teaches you don't solve the problem superficially. You have to solve the problem at the root. And therefore, what Krishna is teaching Arjuna is how to find real solutions to the problems of life. Not external solutions, not temporary solutions, but solutions that will actually resolve all of the problems that we have. So, oftentimes what we do in the Gita is we glorify Krishna's wisdom. Am I right? Krishna's amazing verses Krishna gives, teachings. Nehinosmin, you're not this body, you are the soul. Amazing teaching. Krishna says, Mata sparshas dukonteya. Happiness and distress comes and goes like the seasons. So all these very, very famous verses of wisdom we glorify. But did you know there would be no Gita if Arjuna didn't ask good questions? Before Krishna can give good answers, somebody has to ask good questions. The problem in the world today is that people are not asking, forget good questions, people are not asking any questions. Most people are just going along with everything that they're told in life without questioning it. So when you ask good questions, then you can get good answers. Therefore we have a book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. I tell you a story, it's a very heavy story. Can I tell you? It's a heavy story, but I'll tell you the story. It's a powerful story. As we know, about 80 years ago, 70, 80 years ago, there was Adolf Hitler. And Hitler was convinced that there was one race in this world that needed to be killed. And who was that? The Jewish people. So therefore, the Nazi troops would go into different cities in Germany and Poland, in so many places. They would break open the homes of Jewish people. They would capture all of them, send them on a train, and send them to the concentration camp. You can go to some of these concentration camps even today, they're still there, like Auschwitz, Ravensbrück, like this. In these concentration camps, thousands of people were killed every single day. There was one person called Stanislavski Lech. Stanislavski. He was a Jewish person. So one morning, there was a knock on the door. They were told when the knock comes early, don't open the door. So they didn't open the door. Whoever was knocking on the door kicked the door down. 6 soldiers came into the house with guns, captured him and all of his family, sent them to the concentration camp. So now Stanislavski was in the concentration camp. Every single day he was seeing people die in front of his eyes. At one point he saw 1, 2, 3, all of his family members die in front of him. He was surrounded by people, and you can imagine everyone was asking the question, how could this happen? How could there be so much suffering? How could God allow such a thing to happen? Stanislavski asked the same question. How could there be so much suffering in this world? But one day, he started asking a different question. He didn't ask the question, how could there be so much suffering? He started asking the question, how can I get out of here? When he said that question to his friends said, are you stupid? Nobody gets out of here. Nobody makes it out alive from the concentration camp. You're just dreaming. Stop asking that question, because you're just going to make yourself more and more frustrated. But Stanislavski, he couldn't stop asking the question, how can I get out of here? 99% of people in the concentration camp were asking the question, how could God allow this suffering? Stanislavski was the one asking the question, how can I get out? One day, Stanislavski and his friends, they were walking through the concentration camp, and they smelt the worst thing you could smell. What kind of smell is that? They walked up, they peered over the wall, and when they looked over the wall, they saw the worst sight they could see. Hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies rotting. Can you imagine? Just imagine the sight. Everyone was asking the question, how could there be so much suffering? But what was Stanislavski's question? How can I get out? They stepped down from the wall. Everyone went away bewildered. But when Stanislavski saw that sight, remember his question was, how can I get out? And when he saw that, he got the idea. That night, when everyone was sleeping, what did Stanislavski do? Somehow or other, he dodged the guards, he came out, he came to that wall where he saw the most terrible sight. And what did he do? Boom. He jumped in to all the dead bodies. Once he jumped into all the dead bodies, what did he do? He went digging in, and he put himself right at the bottom of all the dead bodies. In the morning, jump, truck came, took all the dead bodies. The truck drove away, driving. After 1 hour, the truck stopped, jump, put all the dead bodies in the hole. Stanislavski was just there. Can you imagine? He waited, and once everything became quiet, he started coming out of all of the bodies. He walked out and he ran. He ran till he met the first village. And he started his life again as a free man. He writes all about this. And he says, the question that you meditate on will determine the answer that you get. He said, most people were only thinking, why is this suffering happening to me? And what that meant is they had to remain in the suffering. But the moment you ask the question, how can I get out of this suffering? then you get the key to understanding how you can escape. And so he reflects very, very beautifully that it all depends on what question you're asking in your life. If you ask the right question, the powerful question, the real deep question, then you can get a very, very powerful answer. And if you get that powerful answer, then you can become free. But if you don't become free, you have to remain within the prison of suffering. So Arjuna, we don't often glorify Arjuna so much for his questions. But actually, his very, very powerful questions give Krishna the opportunity to give very, very powerful answers. Who knows how many questions Arjuna asks in the Bhagavad Gita? Any idea? How many? There's 700 verses. How many questions do you think Arjuna asks? 17. Exactly. 17 questions. Arjuna asks different types of questions. One type of question Arjuna asked to Krishna, I don't understand what you're telling me. For example, Arjuna says to Krishna, on one hand you're telling me to be spiritual, and then on another hand you're telling me to fight. How can I be spiritual and how can I fight at the same time? I don't understand it. So sometimes you have to come in front of Krishna and you have to say, I don't understand. And Krishna will give you the answer. Another type of question Arjuna asks, he says to Krishna, I understand, but it doesn't make logical sense to me. For example, in the beginning of the 4th chapter, Krishna says, I already gave this knowledge to the sun god many, many thousands of years ago. So Arjuna looks at Krishna and he says, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't make logical sense. How could you have taught the sun god thousands of years ago when you're standing here in front of me now? What does Krishna say? Many, many births we have all taken. I remember all of them, but you can only remember this one. So the second type of question Arjuna asks is, how is this logical? And the third type of question Arjuna asks, he says, I understand what you're saying, it makes logical sense to me, but how do I practice this? How do I apply this? For example, in the 6th chapter, Krishna will say, you have to control your mind. Okay, I understand. You control your mind by doing dhyana yoga. You have to go through Ashtanga yoga. Okay, makes logical sense. But then Arjuna says, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tashyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. I understand what you're saying. It makes logical sense that I should meditate, I should do dhyan, vayuriva sudushkaram, but my mind is more difficult to control than the wind. Therefore, I don't know how to apply what you're telling me to do. So if you want to practice spiritual life powerfully, first you have to understand Krishna. It has to make logical sense to you, and you have to understand how to apply it. You have to know what to do, how to do it, and why you should do it. Most people practice religion, but they don't really know what they're doing, they don't know how to do it, and most of them don't know why they're doing it. But we do it anyway. Isn't it? Like most people practice religion very ritualistically. Isn't it? Like one time a man was driving, so he was driving, and then on the side of the street he saw two men. Both of them had a spade. So one man was digging up, and as soon as he was digging up and putting the side on the dirt on one side, the other man with his spade was taking the same dirt and putting it back in. So this man said, he was looking at these two fellows. One was digging, they were sweating like anything. One man was digging and the other one was putting the same dirt back in. So he's thinking, this is a bit strange, no? So he drove. 1 hour later he came back and the same two men were there. One was digging up and the other one was putting the dirt back in. So he was confused. He went up to these two people. He said, what's the meaning of this? He said, one of you is digging, the other one's putting back in. They said, yeah. It's our job. He said, what kind of job is this? He said, we're planting trees. But the third person who puts the seed in is sick today. But we have to keep doing our job. So sometimes religion is like this. People just do the ritual, but they miss the point. They don't understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they should do it, but they just keep on doing it ritualistically. So Bhagavad Gita means we should ask good questions. We should understand why we're doing what we're doing, how we should do it, what we should do. And if we have good questions like Arjuna, then we can get the perfect answers from Krishna. And therefore the Bhagavad Gita will teach you what you didn't learn in school. And so there are 5 topics. These 5 topics of the Gita are very powerful. Jiva, the soul. Prakriti, the material world. Ishvara, Supreme Person. Kala, time. Karma, action and reaction. These are the 5 truths. If you understand them, you can answer any question in the world. Therefore, Arjuna is coming up with so many questions, but Krishna can give all the answers because Krishna teaches him the 5 tattvas. If you understand the 5 tattvas, you can get the answer to any question, any conceivable question that someone could come up with. So that's why the Bhagavad Gita is so powerful. Because Arjuna asks a question, amazing questions, Krishna reveals the 5 tattvas, and once Krishna reveals the 5 tattvas, there's no question that's left unanswered. Everything is answered within those 5 truths. So therefore, this Bhagavad Gita is very, very powerful. So one final thing before I open up for questions, so think of whatever questions you have. The Bhagavad Gita is very powerful, and the analogy that's given, Sarvapa Nishado Gavo Dogda Go Palanandana Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitam Ritam Mahat. Sarvapa Nishado Gavo. You can compare all of the scriptures to a cow. Compare all the scriptures to a cow. Dogda, there is a milker of the cow. And who is that? Gopalanandana, Krishna. Krishna is milking. Parthavatsa, there is a vatsa, a calf, who is drinking from the cow. And who is that? Partha, Arjuna. So one may say, okay, the cow is all of the scriptures, Krishna is milking the cow, Arjuna is drinking the milk. What's the milk? Dugdam Gitam Mridam Mahat. The milk is Bhagavad Gita. In other words, why does a cow exist? To give milk. So why do all of the scriptures exist? To give the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore Prabhupada said, if you read this one book, you can become perfect. So you have to read it. That's the great opportunity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so anyone have any questions? Yes, Prabhu. Nice and loud.
Actually, it's 3 verses of Gita.
3 verses of Gita.
Right. To me, the purpose of implicit enough. So I'm asking you.
Take the mic.
Right. First one, Chetasa Sarva Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matpara. In all of your activities, it didn't specify good or bad, spiritual or non-spiritual. In all of your activities, depend on me and work under my protection. In such, it has now become, in such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. The second one is Yagyo Dana Tapa Karma. Yagya must not be given up. Well, I understand Dana and Tapa. But when I ask devotees, senior devotees, what does it mean by Yagya? Is it chanting of the holy name? They say no, it's Vedic Yagya some long ago, which we don't do now. And the third question is Yataha Praviti Bhutanam. A man may gain perfection through his own work. So I'm going to sit quietly and listen to the answer.
What's the question?
Kindly detail what it means. In all of your activities, depend on me. So how do I depend for all activities that I perform for the day? Describe what do we mean by Yagyodana, what are the Yagyas, and how do I gain perfection through my work.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu took the opportunity to ask 3 questions in one. Thank you. So what does it mean that in all activities depend on me? It means that everything one has is a gift of Krishna. Etavad janmasafalyam dehinam yadehishu pranir arthe dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. To do activities, you need 4 things. Prana, energy. Artha, some kind of facility. Dhiya, intelligence. Vacha, your words. If you don't have these 4 things, you can't do any activity. And where do these 4 things come from? Krishna. Therefore, in all activities depend on me means understand that in any activity you can't do it if Krishna doesn't supply you with the energy, the intelligence, the ability, the words, the facilities to do it. You can't do it, we can't do anything. So therefore, Krishna gives us a body, Krishna gives us intelligence, and therefore we have to depend on Him. So whenever you're doing any activity, you have to realize, I'm not an independent. Nobody is self-made here. Nobody is doing it off their own power, because if Krishna wanted to remove something in one flash, He won't be able to do anything. Therefore, Chaitasa Sarvakarmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha. You have to depend on me. Yagya, what does yagya mean? That then is described in Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sangopang Gastraparshadam Yagye Sankirtaner Prayer Yajantihi Sumedhashaha. If you're Sumedha, if you're very, very intelligent, then you will do the yagya of this age. What is the yagya of this age? Yagya Sankirtaner Prayer. Chant the holy name, spread the glories of Krishna, serve the Sankirtan mission. This is the yagya. This is what Bhagavatam is saying. And the final verse is, use your duty. Yes, each one of us have a dharma. Some of us are brahmanas, some of us are kshatriyas, some of us are vaishyas, some of us are brahmacharis, some are grihastas, some are brahmastras. There's many combinations. So anyway, whatever it is, find your varna, find your ashram, do your duty, and then dedicate it to Krishna. So if you're a grihasta, be a good grihasta. Every ashram has a defect in Kali Yuga. So the defect of brahmacharis is that they're not clean. Go and check the brahmachari ashram. The defect of grihastas, you know what the defect of grihastas is in Kali Yuga? You don't know? They don't give charity. In previous ages, the doors were open. Anyone can walk into your home. Nowadays, beware of the dogs. The security systems, you have to sometimes. So we're in Trinidad, you have to be practical. But the point is that the doors must always be open to serve others. You have to be charitable. You know what the defect of the Vanaprasthas is? Vanaprastha means when you're 50. I won't ask anyone to put their hand up. Who's 50? But Shastra says, Panch Asurdham Vanam Brajait. When you're 50, you have to start walking away. But the defect of Vanaprasthas is in Kali Yuga, they don't walk away. They remain in the family life right till the end. Not recommended. Sannyasis have no defects in Kali Yuga. Sannyasis also have defects in Kali Yuga. And you know what the defect of sannyasis is in Kali Yuga? They have bank accounts. They gather money overseas, Swiss bank account. So sannyas means you should not gather. Whatever you get, you have to give away. You should not hoard. Anyway, that's sidetracked. Point is, you have a varna, you have an ashram. So dedicate it to Krishna like this. So this is what Krishna is telling us. Okay, Guru? Is it okay? Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions? Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, take the mic. Okay.
But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says he is Arjuna himself. So who was questioning him over here?
I couldn't understand, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying he's Arjuna himself? Where does Krishna say he's Arjuna?
When he was created in the universal form, he said, Arjuna, I'm also you.
So he says Arjuna.
No, in the universal form, Krishna is saying everything is within me. Krishna looks at Arjuna and what does he say? Natvevaham jatunasham natvam ne me janadipa nacheva na bhavishyama sarvevayam mataparam. Krishna looks at Arjuna and he said, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Krishna says, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you're my servant. So I don't know where Krishna says that I am Arjuna. Krishna says to Arjuna, everything is within me. Maya tatam idam sarvam. Everything is in me. I am in everything. And at the same time, I'm separate from everyone. So Krishna is Achintya Bheda Tattva. He is simultaneously one and different from all living beings. Does that make sense? So we are simultaneously one and different from Krishna. So Arjuna and Krishna are different personalities.
What happened when Krishna says, of all the mountains, I am Himalaya. Of all the archers, I am Arjuna.
Yes.
Yeah.
So does it mean that Krishna is literally Arjuna? What it means is that Krishna is the essence of what makes Arjuna Arjuna. In other words, Krishna is the best of everything. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitameva va tattadeva vagachatvam mamate jomsa sambhavam. Krishna says, know that everything glorious, everything powerful and beautiful in this world comes from but one spark of my splendor. So when Krishna says, I am the Himalayas, or I am Varuna, or whatever it may be, what Krishna is saying is that I am the opulence that makes these things so glorious. Does that make sense? You have to understand. So like for example, Krishna made today, I don't know, he may say, of all the phones, I am iPhone 18. Or Krishna may say, of cars, I'm the Maserati. Of football teams, I'm Spain. But it doesn't mean Krishna is literally Spain. What it means is that Krishna is the best of the best. He's the best of everything. So of our archers, there's no better archer than Arjuna. So that opulence comes from Krishna. But Arjuna and Krishna are different. Arjuna is Krishna's eternal servant. Alright? Any other questions? Yes.
Why did Krishna reveal himself to Arjuna, and what made Arjuna so special to be able to ask 17 questions, receive feedback?
Excellent question. Yeah, what made Arjuna so special? Why didn't Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita to Yudhishthira? Why didn't Krishna speak it to Bhima? Bhima would have probably got hungry while you were speaking. We could answer this question on different levels. Firstly, in the 4th chapter, Krishna gives the general definition of who he reveals the knowledge to. Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hyatadutamam. Krishna says to Arjuna, I am revealing this knowledge to you today, this rahasya, confidential knowledge. Why? Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Because you're a devotee and because you're friendly. Because you're my devotee and because you're my friend, I'm revealing this knowledge to you. But someone may say, yeah, but Yudhishthira is also a devotee and a friend. So why Arjuna? So one commentator gives another reason. He says, because there was no one more powerful, influential, successful, and influential than Arjuna. Everyone on the battlefield was looking at Arjuna. But Krishna wanted to show that even if you're powerful, influential, strong, even if you've won all the wealth, even if you're the one that everyone in the world is looking towards, if you don't have transcendental knowledge, you will again become bewildered, just like everyone else. Arjuna was Dhananjaya, one who had won all the wealth. Krishna wanted to show, doesn't matter if you win all the wealth, you get bewildered if you don't have knowledge. There's also a third reason given why Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Arjuna, there was something very special about Arjuna that made Krishna very, very happy. This is told, I think, by Jiva Goswami and Gopal Champu. Anyone know what it is? In Vrindavan, Krishna had many sakhas, friends. And of all of his sakhas, there was one sakha who had the same name as one of the Pandavas. Which sakha was that? Arjuna Sakha. So there was one Sakha who was also called Arjuna. So I think it's Jiva Goswami says in Gopal Champu, Krishna was especially inclined towards Arjuna, Pandava Arjuna, because whenever he would say the name Arjuna, he would remember Arjuna Sakha, and that means he would remember Vrindavan, and Krishna's most dear thing in life is Vrindavan. So anyone who reminds him of Vrindavan becomes very, very dear to Krishna. Jiva Arjuna was especially, Pandava Arjuna was especially favored because Krishna thought I like him so much. He is always reminding me of Vrindavan. So you can say. So these different reasons are given on different levels. Good question. Thank you. Anyone else?
In the past, this Bhagavad Gita is selectively given the same details. This is Kali
Raja Rishis, yeah.
This is Kali Yuga, the most degraded of all ages.
Yes.
And we see that Bhagavad Gita is being given to everyone.
So previously the Bhagavad Gita was only given to Raja Rishis. And in this age we're seeing that the Bhagavad Gita is given to everyone. So why is that the case? The first thing to understand is that the Bhagavad Gita was given to Raja Rishis to teach. It's not that anyone else was banned from reading Bhagavad Gita. In fact, it's said that when Krishna was on the battlefield, everyone could hear what he was saying because the Bhagavad Gita is available for everyone. But it was specifically given to Raja Rishis because they had a responsibility. Evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo vidu sakale neha mahada yoganashta parantapa. It was their duty to understand it well and teach it to others through education, culture and devotion. So in this age we give Bhagavad Gita to everyone, but actually Krishna says you should seek out influential people. Yad yad acharati shreshthas. You should search out the shreshta, the most influential people, and you should give them Bhagavad Gita. So nowadays it's not Raja Rishis. Nowadays you have to look for the guy who's the biggest on Instagram. And then give him the Bhagavad Gita. Teach him and then tell him, now, make the reel go viral. So Bhagavad Gita is available for everyone, but specifically given to Raja Rishis or influential people so they can teach the masses. Does that make sense? Any of the Matajis, any questions? Perfect questions, perfect answers. Anyone?
Swami, one more.
Yes?
Put it in the Samananda. And you talk about the Raja Rishis and Bhagavad Gita. I'm more believers because of Shiva Prabhupada. Bhagavad Gita become known worldwide.
Yes, because of Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita became known worldwide. You're asking me? You're telling me. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Of course. Srila Prabhupada was the Raja Rishi. Is that the point? Oh, yes. Oh, okay, yes, yes. Yeah, Prabhupada is the ambassador, and then we have many Raja Rishis. And you have a Raja Rishi Prabhu in Trinidad also. So, he does write Zoom classes every day. There you go. He's fulfilling the purport of his name. So, yes, teaching the masses. Good. Anyone else? Alright, so shall we finish here? Finish here. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Keshava Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you to everybody for coming to today's program. Over the last 2 days, we had a seminar / workshop with Maharaj at the Longville Temple called the Tree of Life. And because it went on, the final session is actually tomorrow morning, which would be the Sunday Feast lecture. And that would take place from 10:30 to 12. It's an hour and a half session, 90-minute session. And everybody's invited to that in the afternoon. Program would be at the South Temple, and the subject matter would be Chaitanya Charitamrita, and that program begins at 3:30. Maharaj will speak from 4 to 5:30 on Chaitanya Charitamrita, including interaction with the audience, questions and so on. He also has some books. He brought a few more copies, but some of the specific titles sold out. So we have 4 titles remaining. And a book table will be set up at a convenient. You'll know when you see it, so you could just find it. And if there's one of the books is reflections on doing Braj Mandal Parikram a couple of years ago. One of it is a compilation of some of the articles that he would have written on his blog. Maharaj is also a very thoughtful and deep writer. Very nice reflections on the experiences he has, on things that goes on in the world. So there's a book that deals with that. There's a book that gives us practical, hands-on tools by which to implement the Bhagavad Gita in our own lives. And there's 3 distinct ways. It's called Gita 3, not because it's the 3rd book, but he goes through the 18 chapters and gives 3 different ways, 18 times how we can, use different meditations to inculcate the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in our daily life. So, and then there's one called Gita Life, which is one of the first books that Maharaj wrote, which is the Bhagavad Gita in acronyms. So those are the 4 titles that still remain. So we'll set that table up. You'll know it when you see it. And now we'll have the Shrinadev prayers. And then prasadam will be served for everybody. I think most people know where to find prasadam and how it is served. Nobody needs a map for that one. Right, so Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Bhakta Goti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.
Shri Bhagavan ki Namaste Narashingaya Radadadadayine Hiranyakasitur Gita Nishinga Parato Nishinga Yato Yato Yamita To Nishinga Bahe Nishinga Ridaye Nishinga Keshava Gita Arouca Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare प्रहलाद महाराज की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna, so the book table is just at the entrance to the temple, and Prashadam is just at the entrance to the kitchen. So act accordingly.
Krishna Bhagavan Gole Hari Jiva Joy Swapasada Divai Se Amrita Bhau Radha Krishna Guna Premera Puchayanya Nitai Mahaprasad Govinde Nama Ramini Vaishnavi Swabha Punya Vatam Rajan Vishwaso Nai Vajayate Krishna Prasadam ki jai.